ABC, it is, it's that time, finally. Um, a few of you told me they wanted to see this and, asked me to do this, and I had planned to do it, waiting on timing and a few more things to come in that didn't come in yet or won't come in. Anyway, today I'm going to show you my Bowie collection and we're going to go through my top 15, which is an idea I got from Christina, the vinyl guru, that badass of the vinyl community. So, my infatuation with Bowie began rather recently. Just never an artist I guess had the opportunity to get into. I mean, of course I had the opportunity, but I didn't know anyone who was into Bowie. I didn't my story is a long and complicated one, and I haven't really had the ability to be super into music and collecting music and around a bunch of people who could influence my music taste since I was a teenager or early 20s. And it took a long time for me to get to a place where I could collect records and and then there's the vinyl community. So I'd heard very little of Bowie, and I started noticing I heard his influence everywhere. Even though I wasn't familiar with his music, I still knew I was hearing his influence. And a close friend of mine, we'd hang out at his house and medicate, and he'd play guitar and sing some Bowie songs, or he'd put Bowie on and sing the songs at me like a performer. Yeah, he's fun, but so mostly at the top of the list is going to be stuff he introduced me to because it has that connection for me. But once I dove in and really realized what I'd been missing, there's been no going back for me. I try to listen to records every day, but it doesn't happen every day. But when I do, it's most days. Say I listen to 5 albums that day. One's always going to be a Bowie. I have to throw him on. I constantly have his music stuck in my head. And I got some shit on my shirt. No, I think it's a stain. All right, we ain't worried about that. The show must go on, regardless of shit on the shirt. All right, guys, so let's get started because we got a lot to talk about. Now, again, this is my own first off, to preface, this is my own personal ranking, and they do change depending on how I feel on that day. This is how I felt when I wrote the list. And stuff at the bottom or stuff that's not on this list, I still love. I mean, I love his whole catalog, except for possibly 2 albums. And, and they were just kind of, I'm sure if I got them, I'd like them, the more I listen to them, but they haven't grabbed me, and a lot of his music just grabbed me. It is, it's amazing. All right, so let's get going. We're going to start with number 15. Now, I know a lot of you are going to get pissed at me for a lot of these rankings, but again, keep in mind, etc., etc. You know the rest of that. I'm going to be polite. But anyway, at number 15, okay, so the info I speak of the albums, I actually got from this picture that catalogs, it's all his albums, all the influence or music that is in each album, and then where he lived and other musicians he was collaborating with at the time. And it was music pulled from fandom, from wiki, from this and that, and kind of compiled. I wish I could share that in the link, but it's just a picture, so I can't. And I can't show it to you because it's on my iPad, which is what I'm recording this with. If I had a computer, I could probably, clip it in right there, but that ain't me. That ain't me. All right, so first up, we have Station to Station. The Return of the Thin White Duke. The Thin White Duke. Crazy motherfucker. This dude was having I've been there. I've been there a long time ago. I used to partake in a lot of hard substances, and I have seen shadow people. I have talked to myself. I have had lucid dreams, or weird occurrences or deja vus that all just were triggered by huge drug use. And whatever. I never drank only milk and ate bell peppers, though I did used to drink a lot of milk, and I've never frozen my semen. But anyway, Thin White Duke. This album, or Station to Station, I'm sorry, 1976, influences of funk, krautrock, and art rock. Station to Station, Golden Years, and Wild as the Wind are some killer tracks on this thing, but you all know that. All right, next up, we have, you guys are gonna hate me for this. At number 14, Heroes. This is art rock, very art rock, and I know there's some stuff I'm missing, but this album's amazing. You obviously have Heroes, Beauty and the Beast, and Blackout. I'm just not a huge fan of the Berlin years. The direction he went with Brian Eno probably wasn't my favorite. But I may feel differently in a year or next week. Who knows? Anyway, at number 13, with influences of hard rock, Philly soul, and blue-eyed soul, 1975, we have Young Americans. The title track is Young Americans. Anyway, the single, I love the song Young Americans. I love it, man. And he sure know how to pick his bands, his backup singers. Most of you know who was backing up on this album and that song, because I can't tell you their names, I forget. But I knew that they were badasses. All right, so on this, Young Americans and Fame would be the biggest singles. This was, what did I say? It was 75, so it was before Berlin, and before, just shortly after his androgynous phase, right? And he just wanted to pay tribute to American soul music because he loved it. All right, next up at number 12, 1974, glam and hard rock. We have the dystopian masterpiece, Diamond Dogs. Yes. And in case you're wondering, this is the uncut version. Get it? I hope you get it, because I ain't explaining it. This is an awesome album. He was reading 1984, and he had this really huge vision that I guess included a play and a really big album. But to do what he wanted, he couldn't get the rights, and had to, switch things up. Gave us this really great album, though. Really awesome album. Diamond Dogs, let's see, Future Legend, Sweet Thing, and Rebel Rebel. 1984, see, there it is. Phenomenal album. Like I said, it's not that I don't like these albums, they're just lower on the list. How do you... See, that's another thing that just amazing with Bowie. A lot of artists, they give us 1 or 2 great records, or 4 or 5 great records, or maybe 10 great records, but at some point, their career, their songwriting, whatever it is, their inspiration takes a fucking dive. And Bowie gave us, 24, 25 studio albums, something like that. And until the very end, he was still making amazing music. Just breaking all the molds, breaking the rules, doing his own thing, and well, not always, but I love him for it. I love him. All right, so next up we have a 1997 album, electronic, industrial, art rock, drum and bass, jungle. A lot of different styles went into this. I'm sure a lot of people don't like it for those reasons, but I actually really like this era of Bowie, 90 and beyond. Like a lot when he worked with the Pet Shop Boys and Trent Reznor. I think that influence held until the end of his career, and I really love a lot of the stuff he did. Anyway, this is Heathen. As I said, 1997, and this has Sunday, Slow Burn, I Would Be Your Slave, Everyone Says Hi. Great songs, great record. All right, next up, from 2003, the art rock masterpiece, Reality. I have also ordered the 3-disc live set on this from Friday Music, but I haven't received it yet. This is quite the gatefold. The only problem with this is the jacket's oversized and it doesn't fit any sleeves that I have. So there we go. There's the wax. Again, this is from Friday Music. I think I mentioned that. Whoa. New Killer Star, Reality, and Bring Me the Disco King would be my favorite songs from this album. It's a hot one. Again, from that era that I really like. All right, next up at number 9 from 1971, glam, folk, and hard rock. It's found on this. It's Hunky Dory. This is when David had really started to find that androgyny, that real super sexy, sleek, androgynous, and this actually includes possibly my favorite Bowie song. It was definitely the first Bowie song I fell in love with, Life on Mars. Fucking amazing. I mean, I love his space stuff. Those are the singles, the songs that that first got me into him. So Changes, Oh You Pretty Things, Life on Mars, dun dun dun, Andy Warhol, Bob Dylan, Queen Bitch. This is a great album. Phenomenal. This is at the point I would start recommending anything from this point on, probably if someone was asking for, Bowie recommendations. So anyway, next up from 83, the dance, post-disco, and pop album. He worked with a great producer on this, and I forget his name. You guys probably know it. I know some of you know it. Anyway, this is Let's Dance. Let's Dance. Amazing album. The singles off this were Let's Dance and China Girl, correct? But also, this album is just all the way through. This is a dance machine. This thing will make you boogie. All right? Next up at number 7, we have The Man Who Sold the World. Yep, The Man Who Sold the World. I was first introduced to this song by Kurt Cobain, Nirvana Unplugged, 1990-something, circa. Anyway, this has The Man Who Sold the World, She Shook Me Cold, The Width of a Circle, All the Madmen. Great album. Beautiful. This was the beginning of him finding who he was and, carving out his own identity, especially compared with the very early stuff, his early singles and Space Oddity. He was really starting to, this was the very start of him finding that Bowie, Next up, the one that, kind of started it all, from 1969. This is seeing folk, progressive, and psychedelic rock. Yep, that's right. Space Oddity. And Space Oddity is one of my absolute favorite songs. God Knows I'm Good. Janine. God, Space Oddity is just... and Signet Committee and Letter Hermoine. Great album, great album. Boom, boom, boom. A lot of you would be surprised to know, or maybe not. I didn't own a single Bowie album until a few months ago. And Sound of Vinyl, through all of March, I think, had a 30% off sale. And I ordered almost all of this from that sale. 30% off is killer. I mean, that's a good deal. And so I had just gotten really into Bowie. I was infatuated with him. And I grabbed everything I could. Almost literally. There's only a few I didn't get at the time. All right, next up. Many of you might be surprised to see this so high up on the list. But I don't know, I really love this album. But covers albums, I kind of love cover albums. They're fucking awesome. Rage's cover album is one of my favorite records. Metallica had a really good cover album. Yeah, anyway, this is 1973's Pinups. Glam rock and proto-punk are some of what you will find here. And these were all bands from the 60s scene in London, I believe. And, you know, I don't even need to name off the songs. I don't know if any of these were singles or not. I don't know how that worked, but I absolutely loved this record. I just love it. I'd never even heard it before I ordered it. So that's how I roll. All right, we're getting into the top 4 now. At number 4. Whoa. From 1980. Whoa. This, we will find new wave, post-punk, maybe some art rock. Yes. This thing is awesome. And Ashes to Ashes is one of the songs my buddy used to perform for me. And this was one of the ones that was, you know, this is one of the reasons I got into them, was Ashes to Ashes, but It's No Game, fucking amazing. Scary Monsters, Fashion, Teenage Wildlife, Scream Like a Baby, Because You're Young, It's No Game Part 2. I mean, this album is phenomenal, and a lot of people don't like it as much as I do, that's for sure, but it's up there. It's up there. Now, the next one, I mean, this could have easily took the number 1 spot. Very easily. It's probably, I mean, if you asked me yesterday, it could have been my favorite. My top 3, it varies between the 3, but I mean, they're all number 1 in my book. But this is the first album by him that I actually sat down, read the lyrics, went on a deep dive, looked up everything I could. You know, it's a thematic album, amazing concept, super fucking rad songs. Of course, this is 1972's Ziggy Stardust. This was definitely when he was really finding his stride as a musician, and he really became the character Ziggy Stardust, the alien sent to save the world, or who showed up to save the world. Whether he was sent or not, I'm not sure. I mean, this whole thing, it is amazing. 11 songs, and one of them's a cover. It Ain't Easy, amazing cover. But, I mean, right from the beginning, 5 Years is one of my favorites. Moon Age Daydream, Starman, love Starman, Lady Stardust, Hang On to Yourself, Ziggy Stardust, and Rock and Roll Suicide. This album is amazing. I really want to get 1976's Santa Monica Live. It's supposed to be a really, really good live set, better than Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars soundtrack. It's supposed to be a really good representation of that album live, and it's got some other cuts. Phenomenal. Ziggy Stardust, phenomenal. Number 2, 2016, the album that broke all of your hearts. Art rock and avant-garde jazz. Black Star. This is a dark, depressing, heavy, beautiful album that I adore. Black Star and Lazarus are probably some of the best songs I've ever heard. But Pity She's a Whore, I can't give everything away. The production on this thing is out of this world, and I know a lot of people have a hard time listening to this album, and I get why. I mean, it was released a few days before he died, so if you'd never heard the album, say you didn't listen to it on the day it was released or the next day, by the time you listen to it on Spotify, he's saying, look up here, I'm in heaven, and he was passed, so I could see, but how many people have done that, what he did? You get your diagnosis, you go back to doing blow, and you write the most amazing record, processing your own death and dealing with it in Bowie's way. I mean, that shit is amazing. So, that's my drum roll. At number 1, from 2013, an art rock. This thing is great. Dual LP. Covers a lot of different styles. I feel like it covers, it feels like it takes influence from all through his career. This is The Next Day. This album is amazing. The production, I love the artwork on it, but Dirty Boys may be one of my favorite Bowie songs. The Stars Are Out Tonight, Love Is Lost. Where Are We Now is another one of those my friend used to perform for me. Valentine's Day, If You Could See Me, I'd Rather Be High, Dancing Out in Space, You Will Set the World on Mushmouth, You Will Set the World on Mushmouth, You Feel So Lonely You Could Die, Plan, I'll Take You There. This album rocks from beginning to end. Never stops. It is just fucking great. Just great. Alright, so that's my top 15. That's that top 15 racked up. Okay, tell me what you think. Argue with me. Tell me I suck. So, the records I really want are from that era or 1990 and beyond. I can hear the Reznor influence. It seems like everything after Earthling. Earthling is, I love that Bowie record. I love it. If I owned it, it'd be in my top 3. But I don't own it, and it's expensive. I'll probably be trying to find a bootleg of it. I know they're out there. Earthling, Tin Machine, Outside, Hours, Black Tie, White Noise, and as I said, Santa Monica Live 96 or 76, sorry. And then just last week, those are albums I want. A week or 2 weeks ago, he released, or they was released another, like unreleased or B-sides or remix album. And that was really good. Yeah, so I'm going to show you guys the rest of what I have real quick, and then we'll be done. This just came in the other day. This is Legacy. It came with 2 prints, full size, but it's that picture and that picture, so it came with those prints. The fucking labels on this thing are super cool. Each label combines a couple different albums. So this one's Hours and Young Americans. I'm sorry, Hours and The Man Who Sold the World. So you can see they like kind of combine them to make a cohesive picture. This one's Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars and Let's Dance. So you can see what they did there. And then also inside the record, if you open it up, which I'm not going to do, Actually, maybe I will, because maybe a lot of you guys don't have this. There's just more of that stuff going on. Right? Aladdin Sane and Space Oddity there. And then on this side, we have Heathens and Heroes combined. And on the other side, we have Reality and Young Americans combined. I mean, how fucking cool are those? The album spans his entire career, and phenomenal track listing there. Give you a second. Phenomenal track listing. This is on Parlophone, which most everything I've shown except for Reality is a more recent Parlophone reissue. Okay, let's see. I also have Is It Any Wonder? This was a recent Rhino issue. It's got a soft cover. It's got Baby Universal, Fun, the Clownboy Mix, Stay 97, I Can't Read 97, Nuts, and The Man Who Sold the World, a live Eno mix. Awesome record. I ordered that through Rhino on the Dylan, the record spinner, was saying how he went to the site to order it and the shipping was up the ass. So he ordered it from Rhino and I did the same. I also have Lodger. Low. See, there's that Berlin trilogy that just didn't make its way into my top 15. And, you know, a lot of people like this album a lot more than I do. And I love it, but it didn't make the top 15. And that's A Lad Insane. Yes. A tad insane. Yeah, I mean, great album. It just didn't make it. So, guys, that's it. Got that done. Really, knocked it out. I am going to... I'll see you guys soon. I know today, hopefully today, one of my packages arrived. Fire all the way through. And another package is supposed to arrive, but it didn't arrive on the mail cart, which always freaks me the fuck out, especially when it's a $300 box set. Oh, love when that happens. But USPS is always on it. They've never delivered one of my packages to the wrong house. Can't say the same for FedEx. Can't say the same for UPS. Thank God I have good neighbors in those situations. But I know that wouldn't always be the case. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. I almost didn't make this video because I'm all stressed out. But I like to stress. I don't like to. I stress out over shit. It should be here is the way I feel. Anyway, I've informed delivery. So when something says out for delivery and it's on a truck and then it doesn't show up on said truck, yeah, I get a little nervous. But hey, BC, this was Merrick, and that was my Bowie collection and ranking. So see you in the comments. Hopefully you can be civil. All right? Yeah, take care, guys.